The 4 passive behavior you must know. Hi, I'm Sindy V King. I'm a creator of Calling in My King. I help transform high-achieving women to create lasting love through Vedic astrology, neuroscience, transactional analysis, so that she becomes the queen of love. If you are my subscriber, welcome back. If you're new, this is what I do. I'm so excited for you to join me today, so don't forget to like and share my videos. And secondly, today we're going to be talking about a really important topic, and it's about transactional analysis. And this is the real work that we have to learn how to communicate. I want to talk about passive behavior and why does it actually cause passive behavior leading up to violence in relationships. I think it's really important to understand, to identify where you are with your communication and how to identify that within yourself as well, and what to do when you are in that state. I did a wonderful video with Dr. Pat Allen talking about the transactional analysis to do a brief intro what it is and how does it work. And today I'm going to break down the detail, what it comes in what state and then what does it look like. So we talked about 3 different types of levels, as we are scripted, and scripted means that we've been taught as a child how to do certain things, or as an adult, and how do we, when we mature, how does that look like as a healthy communication. So there's 3 states of an ego state goes into. So one of them is called child, the other one is called parent, the last one is called adult. And child obviously is the form of stroking, so that means that you are more in the I feel base versus with I feel sad, I feel scared. Those are the things that we have been taught maybe as a child, how you are supposed to feel certain things and based on the experience of your environment. Secondly, the parent stroke is when you are taught by your parent how to act as from a certain environmental, and that's meaning like telling you what to do and how to do it versus with thinking how to do it. The third stroke, the final stroke, is the adult stroke, and the adult stroke is a mix between the 2 of the parent and the child, and that just simply means that you can think and feel and be able to problem solve as a healthy manner. So that would be an example of, like, if you were late for work, what are you going to do? Are you going to sit there and cry or have fear and have anxiety? Or are you going to be, or that when you're late, there's consequences when you are late. So those are the parents, those are different. So what are you going to do? How to problem solve and get yourself out of that situation? So we're going to be talking about the passive behavior. Since you already understand the foundation, I'll actually explain a little bit more about the 3 strokes in a later video, because I think it should be dedicated specifically just one video for it. But I just want to give you a summary of debrief what me and Dr. Pat Allen talks about. Okay, so based on discounting, so discounting is just meaning that a situation you're unable to respond or problem solve to a situation. So, or a situation that needs to be resolved immediately, or a conversation that needs to happen and you're unable to resolve it. So that causes you to become a passive individual or have passive behavior. So, and it comes in various stages. So I'm going to talk about the 4 state, and I'm going to illustrate it, and then I'm going to talk about why does it happen and how to resolve it as well. The first one I'm going to talk about is the doing nothing. So, for example, your partner asks you, hey, I want to go to the wedding. This is coming up a couple of days, and I was hoping that you can join me, my +1. So in a normal state, you can say things to your partner, say like, it's okay that you can, if you don't want to go, just let me know. You can say pass, I don't want to go, and I'm okay with that. right? And so you say that to your partner, and your partner responded and said doing nothing. So they just sat there just in silent, didn't give you any answer, didn't give you any sort of response. And this is a form of passive, doing nothing. So, and why is it is a problem is because number one, you didn't respond to the question. Number two, the person was unable to think, understand, or comprehend what was why is it was uncomfortable to respond to the question. And maybe it's a lack of experience as well. So I have noticed through my program and even courses and clients that I have seen that when someone is doing nothing and being passive about it, it's because there's some sort of feeling that they have is considered to be uncomfortable. So instead of addressing the problem or expressing how they feel, responding nothing is a best form, and that's been probably taught as a child. So why does it happen? It's actually discounting his or her ability to do something about it. A solution, if one of your partner is doing this, you can simply say, hey, I have to make a decision by this time, and it sounds like you're not ready to join me, and that's okay. I'm gonna tell my friend that I'm gonna attend to the wedding, and that could be simply going to with myself, or I'm gonna bring a friend with me. And if anytime you change your mind, that's fine. You just have to let our friend know that you want to attend to the wedding with my +1. That being said, I arranged my plan already, and I'm gonna just probably go on my own. And you can simply say things like that, and that's being able to problem solve, come up with a solution, and have a clear direction that the other person can and they can jump in as well. You know, when somebody is kind of struggling with those words or don't know what they really want, then they're doing nothing about it. They can simply say, I'm just not interested in going this time around to the wedding. Why don't you just take a friend, or if you're comfortable just going on your own, that would be great. I'll just have to make it up at a different time. I'm just swamped with work or whatever that might be, but I'm just not ready to go to this wedding this time around. And that's it. That's just as simple as you can get. There's nothing more that you can add or tweak about it. All right, so number 2 is over-adaptation. So what does over-adaptation looks like? All right, so you come home and there's a pile of dirty dishes in the sink, and that just simply means that when you came home and there's a pile of dirty dishes and your partner didn't even bother washing the dishes, and you have guests coming over in 5 minutes or even 10, and so what you are doing right now, instead of like asking each other like, okay, can you do the dishes, you kind of discount your ability to do so. You made an assumption that somebody's going to do it, and it might be not you. So you didn't respond that I don't want to do it. So you're kind of you're over adapting the situation where you assume that one of each other is going to do it. The problem here, you believe and you assume that the other person is going to do it. So you didn't check in with your partner versus with reality, which you didn't even check in with yourself if you want to do the dishes either. You just stood there in silence and over adaptation, and that's what it is. So why this is actually happening? So the person's over adapting and discounting her abilities to act on her own opinion, and she also follows the options of she believes that she wants as well. So how do you resolve this? Simply, you have to appoint who's going to do it, and that could be rock, paper, scissors. Well, you got to make it fun, but hey, if you got to negotiate who's going to do the dishes, you might make it fun, right? Or flip a coin. And instead of like not thinking about it, you have to pull back and be like, okay, this needs to be done. Who's going to take charge of this? And since I noticed this first, especially if you notice this first, I think it's important that you speak up on it, because the first contact that you have, that's what it is. And so you're not over adapting the situation and by assuming that one of you guys can do it, right? And you can say, hey honey, I'm not interested in doing the dishes this time around. Why don't you take the dishes? I'm gonna start prepping for food, or whatever that might be, and just negotiate based on that. Or you can say simply, hey honey, why don't I do the dishes? Why don't you and set up the table, or whatever that might be. Or what do you think that needs to be done? Or who wants to do the dishes this time around and I can make it up for tomorrow? So you're not living in a belief system that this person always has to do this, right? So that's what it really is. Okay, so number 3 is about agitation. This is one of my favorite one, about being passive, especially. And when someone is in the agitation state, this is what they look like. So he might ask his girlfriend and be like, hey, do you want to go to Hawaii? And she starts to bite her nails. And that's a form of agitation. Yes, and not responding is another one as well, because you're unable to respond to the question that's being asked and it's irritating you. So that's what agitation. So it's a form of body experience that you're having. So why does this happen? Because you're unable to problem solve. That's one thing. During the agitation, the person is not able to experience their thinking, and that's what it is. So the solution would be simply responding about her fear, that's the child state, and finding the solution, how she can overcome that problem. Does she need to go see a doctor about this before getting onto the airplane? And that could be one sign of it. Or does she need to address this to a professional help that could help her with her anxiety of getting onto the plane? And that's being in the adult state, because you are communicating what your child is feeling and problem solving and taking action of why this is actually happening. Okay, so other common habits that agitation could look like. So I talked about the nail biting is one of them. Smoking is another one. Hair twirling is another one, believe it or not. And compulsive eating. Surprisingly not. Compulsive eating is also a form of agitation, unable to speak up about how you feel and problem solve. Again, it's all about problem solving. What's the problem? Where to go next? Okay, the 4th one is incapacitation or violence. So this is just meaning that if she start to cook most of the time at home, so would be, for example, the wife, healthy meals and healthy food. But the moment that she leaves the house, her husband wouldn't be able to cook for himself. So he end up going to maybe fast food and end up getting food poison, because she thinks that he's unable to cook to begin with and never gave him the opportunity to do so and be the chef for. So when she left, therefore, that caused him incapable and relying on her for the cooking that happens inside the home. The reason why, obviously, is discounting the problem solved. So she thinks that he's unable to cook healthy meals in the kitchen, or thinks that probably lighting the house on fire, but there's no evidence of that. So she just thinks that he's incapable of doing it, and therefore she enable him to make healthy meals at home. Comes into different forms as well. So it's an inability to problem solve, and could be things like mental breakdown, or by even through like abuse of drugs is another one, or alcohol. So this is another form as well. I know I made a simple example of incapable of doing the food, but there's much more underlying to this. So drugs and alcohol is definitely one part of it as well. Agitation does lead into violence, and this is a very common one. It's a build up to the point where someone is able to take action, but not an appropriate action, and more of a frustration and anger. So this could be things like slamming the door, hitting, kicking, any sort of violence behavior, some sort of action that is a negative action to either towards somebody or an individual or to an object, It's a form of violence, and it's not a positive problem-solving solution. The reason why this happened, again, is unable to resolve the problem, so they act in violence. This is a buildup from agitation, which leads to discounting and being destructive. So clearly, this is where somebody really is ready to blow up, and you'd be very surprised that a passive behavior is also part of violence, because again, it's about not being able to problem solve. All right, so I hope you guys learned a lot, and I hope this is very clear, and I know this is quite a long video. I really hope this is very educational. If you have experienced yourself or with a partner, any of these 4 categories, I love to hear it from you, and please leave a comment down below. And the next video, I hope you guys enjoy the next video that you're going to be watching on my channel. If you found this video helpful, please share it with your friends, because sharing is caring. If you want my help in your relationship or dating situation, you can always book a time with me. Check out the link below. To stay in touch, subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to hit the bell button so you can be notified when I post new videos. Please go ahead, hit the like button, because it encourages me to create more contents like this every week for you. If you have any ideas for a video, please leave it in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.